Are you excited, Lulu?
Oh, yes. I'll be honest with you. I've not watched her programs because obviously I'm busy and stuff like that. But I cannot help but notice how the media continues to behave like an addicted narcissist who's completely obsessed with this girl to the point where when there's almost nothing to report, you stalk her and scout for any imperfections in order to fix your low. Because no matter what she does, no one's happy when she's reflective. And by the way, I love the fact that she's not responded or gone, out to kind of react on what people are saying. People wanted her to leave. Okay, she left. She did her own thing. She's doing her own thing. It's still not good enough. Do you know what? It will never be good enough for anybody because
okay, Lulu,
I think people should get off their high horse now.
Lulu, without the controversy, would anybody be watching her Netflix series about flower arranging and things?
Oh, yeah, you'll be surprised. There's a market for everything these days. A lot of people. But
would it be as popular, anywhere near as popular, if she was the woman from Suits who chose to do flower arranging?
Oh, yes, because actually Suits may not have been watched by, as many people as want to know about where she is now at the moment. So I say, yes, people will watch her, and yes, she'll get the...
All right, let's take a moment, because what we just witnessed deserves a standing ovation. Lulu, a British caller, just went live and said everything the UK media has been running from for years. She didn't raise her voice, she didn't rant, she didn't lose her cool. She simply held up a mirror to the madness, and my goodness, the reflection was not pretty. That call was like watching calm common sense slap the entire British press with a velvet glove. Lulu's voice might have been measured, but her words, pure TNT. She basically diagnosed the entire UK media a chronic case of Meghan Sussex obsession, fueled by bitterness, hypocrisy, and caffeine. You could almost hear the host's jaw tightening. Because here's the thing, when someone calmly speaks the truth, it hits harder than any headline ever could. Lulu described what we've all seen for years, a press corps that can't let go. They've turned their obsession with Meghan into an industry. They complain she gets too much attention, but they're the ones feeding it. They say they're tired of her, yet they publish 5 news stories a day. It's like watching someone scream that they hate chocolate while eating an entire bar in secret. What makes Lulu's call so iconic is the way she refused to join their game. She didn't let the host twist her into a corner. She didn't take the bait when he tried to steer the conversation toward gossip or controversy. No, she kept it focused, pointing out the obvious hypocrisy that everyone sees but so few dare to say out loud. And you could feel it, the discomfort in the studio, that awkward pause that happens when someone unexpectedly starts telling the truth. The host clearly thought he was about to have another easy call where the guest piles on Meghan. Instead, he got logic, honesty, and intelligence. You could practically hear him looking for the exit button. Lulu's point was so simple, yet so devastating. Meghan did exactly what the British public and press said she should. They wanted her gone, and she left. They told her to stop using royal resources, and she built her own. They demanded privacy, and she retreated to a quiet life. And yet the coverage hasn't stopped for even a single day. You know why? Because the issue was never really Meghan's actions. It's her existence, her success, her peace, her ability to rise, rebuild, and outshine the noise. That's what they can't handle. And Lulu, bless her, exposed that truth effortlessly. They can't imagine Meghan being interesting, inspiring, or successful without drama attached. They can't see that people genuinely admire her for who she is. They act like she needs them, but in reality it's the other way around. The British press has built a business model on criticising Meghan, and Lulu just threw a wrench straight into the gears. What the host failed to grasp is that Meghan doesn't need to do something scandalous to capture interest. She's not selling chaos, she's selling class, grace, and purpose. If she decided tomorrow to release a documentary about planting trees or decorating cupcakes, people would still tune in. Why? Because authenticity sells. People relate to honesty. They gravitate toward women who live boldly and truthfully, not those hiding behind palace press briefings. It's funny, the host tried to diminish her by framing her success as dependent on negativity. But all he did was prove Lulu's point. The obsession is so deep, so automatic, that even when Meghan is doing something peaceful or creative, they can't talk about it without dragging her name through controversy. Lulu wasn't having it. She stayed poised and calm, letting the host's smugness dissolve right in front of him. She reminded everyone listening that Meghan's success didn't begin or end with the royal family. It's her story, her drive, and her choices that keep her relevant, not the drama the tabloids try to manufacture. You could tell Lulu wasn't reading from a script. She was speaking as a regular British woman who's tired of the circus, tired of the hypocrisy, tired of the way the media turns everything Meghan does into a national crisis while pretending to be the victim. There was something refreshing about her tone, confident, intelligent, grounded in reality. It wasn't performative outrage. It was truth spoken with clarity. And honestly, her call highlighted something powerful. The fact that so many ordinary people in the UK are over this obsession. Not everyone buys what the tabloids are selling. There are millions who can see the obvious, that Meghan is being targeted for existing outside their control, for living her life on her terms, for not playing the obedient Duchess role they scripted for her. The host tried to laugh it off, but you could hear it, the unease in his voice. Because when you're used to spinning narratives, the truth feels like an ambush. Lulu dismantled their favourite talking points in less than 2 minutes, and she did it with grace. She didn't need to shout, she didn't insult anyone. She just made it clear that the double standards have gone too far. And here's the irony. The host's attempt to undermine her only made her stronger. The moment he questioned whether people would watch Meghan without controversy, Lulu gave him an answer that completely disarmed him. She reminded him that Meghan's story has evolved. People are following her not out of scandal, but out of admiration. They're curious about her next chapter, her creativity, her projects. That was the point he couldn't handle. That Meghan is still relevant without their headlines, that she doesn't need palace drama to be influential, that her audience is loyal because of who she is, not what the British media says about her. And I'll say this, if the press stopped covering Meghan tomorrow, her name would still trend. Because while the tabloids are busy running out of insults, Meghan is out there making moves, forming partnerships, and building a legacy. She's outgrown the noise. What makes Lulu's call special isn't just what she said, it's the way she said it. She represented every person who's watched the bullying, the headlines, the mockery, and said, enough. She refused to let the host rewrite reality. She refused to join the pile-on. And in that moment, she gave every fair-minded listener permission to do the same. And that's why the clip went viral. Because Lulu reminded people that decency still exists, that there are voices in the UK who won't bend to the pressure of toxic media culture. Her call was short, but it was a moment of sanity in a sea of absurdity. If anything, it revealed the growing shift. The narrative is changing. The louder the press screams, the more people are starting to see through it. The public is beginning to realise that this relentless coverage says more about the media's insecurity than about Meghan herself. The power of Lulu's words lies in their simplicity. She wasn't trying to be clever or controversial. She was just honest. Honest about how unfair and obsessive the coverage has become. Honest about how impossible it is to please people who've already decided not to like you. Honest about how the British media's addiction to Meghan has turned into a national embarrassment. And that's exactly why her call hit a nerve. Because truth has a way of making liars uncomfortable. By the end of that interview, the host had nothing left. You could sense it, the awkward wrap-up, the forced politeness. Lulu had won the exchange without ever raising her voice. She held her ground, exposed the hypocrisy, and reminded the audience that not everyone in Britain is buying the nonsense. So here's to Lulu, a national treasure in the making. She stood up when it would have been easier to stay silent. She defended a woman she doesn't even know, not because it was popular, but because it was right. That's courage. That's integrity. And to the UK media, maybe it's time to listen to people like Lulu, because the public is waking up. The old tricks aren't working anymore. The outrage machine is breaking down. While they continue to obsess, Meghan continues to win. She's living, thriving, creating, and moving forward. And people like Lulu are proof that not everyone is fooled by the noise. The truth always finds a voice. And this week, that voice was Lulu, calm, clear, and unshakably right.